Hello to all my friends out there. Hi, you guys. Well, I'm up and I'm at it again. It's overcast. We were supposed to get rain, so we got some rain. And I went out in my garden and I said, I am going to harvest rain. I am going to harvest some rain for my garden. So I cut the top off of a gallon jug and I said I will harvest rain. You guys, you know how much rain I harvested off the runoff of my roof? 1 gallon. And it's not the best looking water I've ever seen either. And there's no rain here. I hope it does rain. My car needs a car wash. Okay, this video is, can you ever prosper if you are living in poverty now? Yes or no? So, I used to have this, you know, I was a hairdresser, I told you guys. I used to have this, this client who was an attorney, and he used to be hired by people who would commit crimes and paid copious amounts of money to get them off. And so we were talking one day about some crime, and I go, that is impossible. He goes, no, that is not impossible. If something has been done once, it is not impossible. So if anyone in this planet was ever living in poverty and somehow managed to prosper, that means it is not impossible. So can you ever prosper if you are living in poverty now? And the answer is yes. If any other person has ever done it, it is not impossible, and it is possible to do it. It is possible to prosper if you are living in poverty now. So the first thing would be is you would say to yourself, okay, I'm not doing well right now. I mean, I have found myself in this many times in my life, and I would have to like dig my way out of it. That was one thing that aggravated me about the apartment, because then, you know, there was this period of getting back up on your feet of about 2 seconds. No, I hate those people. Okay, now, so the main thing I think would be is the person would say to themselves, okay, I'm sick of this shit. I am going to do something about this, and I'm going to figure out a way to get myself in a little better shape. I can go back to places where I used to be a long time ago, and I'll say to myself, wow, this is really, really bad. What happened? And then it'll occur to me that it was always that way. So number one thing, you cannot spend all of your money. So if you have $100, you cannot spend $100, because then you're down to $0. You're right back where you started. You have to reserve a little money. So you have to say, okay, well, you know, how could I do that? Well, how about something like this? Another thing, I really love this watch. I will sell this watch when the time is right, when I'm ready to give it up. So you can find a way to work and earn extra money. But if that's not possible, if you can find a way to reserve a little money, that is going to help more than anything. So one of the ways to reserve a little money is to simply stop spending your money, or find everything you buy cheaper. That's what I like to do. I was looking for almond butter at a good deal. That's a way of life with me, you guys may have noticed. And at Grocery Outlet, they had like the $10 almond butter for $5. You cannot find any almond butter. And so I have a lot of peanut butter at home, and I'm thinking, you don't really need almond butter, but almond butter is good and it can be eaten at some point. So the first thing is you have to find a way to reserve some money. Even if you only rolled change, or even if you only saved $1, or even if you only collected cans, you know, finding a way. You know, I see these street people out here, and I think to myself, is there any way to get off the street? Well, yes, because people have done it. There is a way. It's harder for some people than others. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with prospering. It's harder for some people to prosper than others. Mostly, I think it has to do with your experience. Like if you've ever lived in a halfway decent circumstances, that helps a lot. So like these sunglasses, I bought these. What brand are these? These are nice. These are Vera Wang sunglasses, and I bought them for like $1 or $2. So that means when I'm done with them, I can take them to the swap meet and get my money back. And then in the meantime, I can, you know, not get a headache, not get a migraine. Even when it's overcast, there's still sun hitting me in this one eye. Okay, number 2, you have to have good food to stay healthy. I mean, what is the point of prospering if you're not healthy? So what I like to do is at the end of the month, you guys have seen me, I'm going to be doing it for the next few days. Well, I'm going to be doing it until I'm done doing it. I will eat some pretty cheap food towards the end of the month. It's a habit of mine. And so I don't have to, but that's what I'm doing. So tonight, I bought at Dollar Tree $1 hamburgers. You know, it's 2 partially soy hamburgers. And so I have several packages of them, and I am going to make some tasty burritos. And I bought some marked down chips for 50 cents yesterday, and I am going to make some Mexicali refried beans to dip my tortilla chips in. And then with the tortillas, I don't know how many burritos these hamburgers will make, but I freeze the rest and I eat them for lunch. You know, I just take them out of the freezer and I microwave them. Those could be sandwiches. So, okay, so once you get some cheap meals, then, you know, your food is not really an issue. But if it is, go get free food at the food bank, you know, and find a way to eat it. So once you have a roof over your head, maybe it's not the nicest roof. I forced myself to live in that lousy apartment, you know, that really crummy apartment for a long time because it kept my expenses really, really low. So, okay, you need good food. So, you know, I do videos on that. You know, if you're poor, and you go and say to yourself, okay, I'm going to buy some sausage at Dollar Tree. I'm going to buy a couple of those hamburger patties for $1. I'm going to buy some eggs. I'm going to buy some marked down bread. And eventually you start to learn how to eat good to stay healthy. Okay, now this is one of the most important things, I think. You cannot live a similar lifestyle to people with a lot more money than you. It just cannot be done. If you try to do that, you're never going to get out of this life you're in. You're never going to do it. What you have to do is you have to start where you are. So, okay, so you have a roof over your head. Can a person with I told my friend, you know, it's the same whether you're living in a mansion, because she was living in this pretty crummy place, You're just living in a crummy place. So can a person with money be cleaner than you are? No. You know, your place may not be the Taj Mahal, but it can be clean. But that is a problem when you're, you know, you're really poor, because things go into being clean. I used to clean everything with detergent and bleach. Laundry is a problem. You've always got to have quarters. Oh, that was a pain in my ass. Anyway, but you know, you cannot go on vacations that you cannot afford. I used to work with people, and in these vacations, they would come back and it would be so broke, it would be like digging your way back out of a hole. And so I would have been working a lot of times 2 and 3 jobs while they were gone. Of course, who is going to be in better shape? So you cannot do it. You can do it, but you will suffer. You cannot go out and eat. You know, I mean, a decent meal is expensive. If you're poor, forget doing that. I'll give you one. Forget IHOP as soon as you get your measly little income. That was the stupidest thing my friend, you know, that I was trying to help. And I think she even paid for some of her friends to go too. And then at the end of the month, she was in a world of hurt. She was very impossible to help. I did try. So you cannot do things like go out to eat. I mean, $10 is a big deal when you're really poor. Like, okay, let's just go and think about Dollar Tree. Okay, eggs, 2 of those hamburgers, sausage, bread, shelf-stable milk. We're only at 5. You know, you get the idea. So that is like not a good plan if you're broke and you want to get out of it. You don't want to stay in it. Also, a bad plan is just like sitting in your house and suffering, not spending any money. That is a good way. You know, your life now is just as legitimate as when you're going to try to get ahead. You know, when you do get the good life. The good life has to start now, but certain things have to be done to move yourself in the right direction. And then pretty soon your circumstances don't hold you there because you've learned your way out of it. Okay, number 4, you need credit. You know these people that say, okay, what's wrong is credit. You don't need credit. You're just a poverty-stricken idiot and you're going to abuse your credit. Your credit is going to really, really help you in all kinds of ways. And then what I did, and I told you guys about this, and I think about this, I was working in this dead-ass shop, and I had a banker, and he says, up your credit limits now, as high as you can. I told everybody I know, and I did it. I listened to him, and I still do it to this day. And at certain times in the year, you know, they offer you credit, and I keep upping my credit, and upping my credit, and upping my credit as much as I can. And so now I'm retired and I'm thinking to myself, do you know what would have happened to me? But that is not the point. If you start out with they have these little credit cards. I think, I don't know how they work, but it's a very small dollar credit card. Get one of those and then just keep upping your credit. The credit is really, really going to help you. Like if I get stranded right now, no, let's say if like I somehow, my car isn't really this, let me just think of something. Well, I can't think of anything, but let's say I locked my keys in the car and I had to call somebody. I have that car thing that comes and gets you out, but I need a few dollars. I can just, you know, use one of my cards. Okay, so think about it. I mean, don't do anything rash if like you're irresponsible. But don't say you can't, because you can. Okay, number 5, your car. Okay, Number one, it is up there close to number one. It's not above food. Let's not be stupid. But okay, your car. First your home and then your car home. You guys see me. This is my car home. My car home is a wreck. That's okay. My car home was helping me a lot. It took me to the swap meet and I got rid of all those clothes. And I just want to mention to you, don't go spending a lot of money on clothes, because if you try to cash your clothes out, they're worth nothing actually. So, you know, be mindful of your vehicle. That's where your credit can help you too. But my car is paid for, thank God. I'm glad about that. I only had a $150 car payment. This is a cheap car. But make sure your car runs and is maintained good. You know, this is some, what is this car? I don't know, but when I first got it, they said these cars, as long as they have oil and transmission fluid, will go forever. So when I first got it, I took it over, and my son was horrified that I did this. I had all the transmission drained out and all new transmission put in, and I had the oil changed. He goes, Mom, what are you doing? What are you doing? I go, well, it's gonna run forever now. So, okay, so your car. So if your car is not that hot, be thinking, okay, how can I, be thinking all the time, you know, how can I get a little bit more prosperous? For me, I have found the little by little, I work with people who would they would not spend a penny. They would be eating food that looked like it came out of the garbage disposal. And I would blast past them so many times with my little by little approach, because you're getting stronger and stronger and stronger, you know? Number 6, small streams of income are really going to help you. Like last month, I went to the, no, that was this month. This is a couple weeks ago. No, it was last week. I went to the swap meet twice, so I had like $300 extra. I sold a couple of items like watches. I'm going to watches, small accessories. Yesterday I almost fell into that pit again. I almost bought a Betsy Johnson pink purse, and I go, what are you, stupid? You can't even sell these stupid purses for $3, but it was so cute. But okay, small streams of income. YouTube channel. You don't have to have anything, you know, earth-shattering to say, but you know, you can take what you like and you can leave the rest. So if you can come up with some small streams of income, that's really going to help you. That's why I used to work 3 jobs. If one didn't pay out, maybe the other 2 would. Okay, number 7, take care of your possessions. Okay, I don't take really great care of my possessions, but like my furniture, I will have it forever and ever. Generally with my junk, it's in the house, nothing's going to happen to it. Same thing with my dwelling. Like by staying in my car all day, I'm saving wear and tear on my dwelling. I lived in that last place 16 years, and I guarantee you those people had people in there the next day. But that's beside the point. Try to reduce the wear and tear on your possessions if you can, if it's something. And everything is so expensive now, but like in the place I live in, you know, I've been, you know, working on it, doing the feng shui, doing the minimizing for some months. Back to the little by little thing. My yards are looking nice, but I'm saying to myself, okay, now let's do some critical thinking. I harvested 1 squash and 2 cucumbers, and I spent hours of toiling in that garden and my space. I was a workaholic all my life, but that's not the point. I'm thinking to myself, okay, okay, the garden is nice, and I do think it does help, you know, as far as having more nutritious food, but is the garden really cost effective? But out here, we're in a drought, okay? So I'm taking care of my dwelling by maintaining the yards, and you know, the garden is going good and it looks pretty and it's nice. But the only time I really spend out there is when I'm maintaining. Last night during the rain, we didn't even get enough rain out here to water my garden. I had to go out in the middle of the darn night in the dark and water my garden because I tried to wait. Okay, so all your possessions, and like I will use my stuff a lot of times until it is utterly shot. And so, okay, so you know what I mean. What I like to do with my possessions is I use them and then I sell them. Okay, number 8, find free low-cost fun. This is very, very important. You know, one thing about the garden is actually, if you look over it, the crop cycle is 60 days. I think I'm about 30 days into the crop cycle. I have had hours of cheap entertainment, basically, and I have been learning. And so I actually like to go to church, like Bible studies and stuff, but I don't think it's safe. People out here is like, you have a death wish they're not being careful. They're not socially distancing. I can see California as a big fat mess waiting to go out of control. But if you're careful, that's not going to be you. So be looking all the time for cheap, low-cost fun. Okay, like I go to the shopping center, I walk because I know I have to exercise. I buy a soda, I might buy a pie at Walmart and eat that. I try to make my life as enjoyable as I possibly can. Good food. I like to hang around with my son's baby. Good company. That is the cutest baby I have ever seen. And I'm not just saying that because she's my granddaughter. So my son and I, we like, you know, to like garden. My son's yard's looking good. So all kinds of low-cost fun. You know, that is going to put you into a more prosperous. And another thing is, if you're pretty broke, there's nothing to stop you from going to better areas, you know. Like El Cajon, where I am now, is on the way out of here to go up to a nicer area. Okay, now number 9, attend to your general standard of living. So you have to have food. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it has to be decent food. You have to have some kind of dwelling. At night, when I pray, I pray to God and I say, I'm very grateful for my dwelling. You know, being grateful helps too, but you're looking at your standard of living. What is your standard of living? You know, they're saying now, you know, people with money, it's not things, it's experiences. You know, they go on they buy houses in Italy and, you know, they're experiencing other cultures. What they're doing is they're taking themselves to a different place. It can be anything, even vacations. You're going to another place and all you're really doing is existing there. You're eating some local food, you're soaking up some sun, you know. You're actually, it's like my friend who, you know, was poor that time. You're the same you, but you know, you're having rich people experiences. So, okay, so attending to your vehicle is going to give you a little bit higher standard of living. Attending to your house is going to give you a little bit higher standard of living, and be thinking of ways. I had this client, it's funny, he just popped into my mind. And he was like working himself half to death. I mean, not like me, I would work 3-day jobs and I would go to school, but never once was I killing myself. But he was really, really killing himself. And I go, why are you doing this? And he looked at me with a straight face and he said, I want to marry a younger woman and have another kid. And I thought, wow. But that's what he wanted to do. So, you know, there's like, you know, there's cutting one tree down or clearing the forest. He was obviously clearing the forest. So we all know, like, you know, when you're broke, you have like a pretty low standard of living. You know, everything starts going wrong. You get cavities, the car breaks down, you can barely pay your bills. And so if you can make improvements in one or two of these areas, it's really going to help you out, like by saving a little money. Okay, and then now out here, this is about houses. Some people will just buy a pretty crummy house and live in that. So a house is better than like an apartment where you have to trust people not to 30-day you or whatever like that. But out here we have mobile homes, and the space rent is almost as high as a rent. And then you have to maintain your mobile home. And then it goes down to motor homes, people living in cars. But I had this client, and this is something I'm working on. I had this client, and he was older, in between the ages of 60 and 70. He worked and he bought this house, and it wasn't very nice. And his children, it was pretty bad, actually. He goes, it was so bad I didn't think I could live in there, but I'm living in there fine. Because he was sick of this rat race with the rent. So, you know, trying to find some kind of a house, they're saying we're going to go socialist and we're all going to be living in big cities in these apartments. And, you know, like up and down the coast, you know, most of the big cities are up and down the coast, and, you know, these big cities. But then, you know, that goes back to socialistic living. But getting ahead and prospering, if one of the things is if you can find a house, a reasonable house. And so you might be thinking that is impossible because, you know, I'm living on a fixed income or I'm in poverty. Okay, back to if it's ever been done once, it is not impossible. So my customer was older, and it took him 10 years. But in 10 years, you're going to be older. And I said to him, I said, well, when you die, you know, his kids go, no, Dad, don't do it, don't do it. I go, well, when you die, they're going to be glad you did it. And he goes, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So he was kind of like working towards a house, like the guy who was working towards a younger wife, the younger woman who had a kid. I thought that was a strange one, actually. I had a strange customer. This popped into my mind. I had this customer, and I was doing his hair for quite a while, and I go, you know, he's a very strange looking guy. And finally I realized what it was is that he shaved all his eyebrows off. That'll give you a real strange look. Okay, so now the issue of trying to get a house. My son just got a house, and it's a nice house. My sister just got a house, so that was awesome. So I'm thinking the next thing to do would be getting, you might be going, that's impossible. If it is ever done once, it is not impossible. So that is the next thing I am working on. So if it takes me 10 years, that is fine. I'm hoping to stay where I am for quite a while. I dislike moving. Okay, you guys, it is possible to prosper if you have been living in poverty. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and God bless you all.